Yo, peace and richest blessings. Welcome back to the Burnell Washburn podcast. Super excited to be sharing this episode with you today. I think this is going to be a really valuable one that you're going to take a lot from. And yeah, I'm on cloud nine lately. I'm feeling so happy to be alive. Mind, body, spirit, everything is just on point right now. The spring equinox just went down. Good vibes are in the atmosphere. Summer's approaching. Flowers are blooming. Birds are chirping. Let's go. I'm just on a high vibration. Super stoked on life right now. Super stoked on all the seeds that I've been planting over the last couple of years are really starting to come into fruition and blossom a bit. So it's a beautiful time in my life, and I'm really grateful and happy to be sharing this energy with you. Like I said, I think you're going to get a ton of value from today's episode, so it might even be one of those ones that you end up listening to multiple times. But before we really dive in, I just wanted to say huge thank you to everyone who's been sharing this on the IG stories or messaging me. Like when you guys message me and say, yo, bro, I just listened to this episode and here's like a specific action that I'm taking or that I took as a direct result of listening to your podcast. That means the world. It helps me. I can screenshot that and share it on my social media platforms, creating more social proof, showing the world that, hey, this is a high vibe place to be. This is an inspiring, empowering, uplifting place to be. And when you guys are sharing that, it just shows other people that maybe they should check it out and get on board too. So I can't thank you guys enough for sharing on your social media, for just tuning in general, for leaving those 5-star reviews. Like those reviews help spread the word. And I haven't done any advertising yet on this podcast, so it's all just word of mouth, and your guys' word of mouth truly is working and helping spread the message. So huge thank you to you guys. Huge thank you to all my patrons. We're up to like 5 or 6 patrons now that are supporting because they get value from the content and they want to express their appreciation through a few bucks a month. So if you want to check out my Patreon page, you can just even throw $5 a month and join the gratitude gang. And that $5 a month really goes a long way. Like I've said before, there's some expenses and some, things involved with creating this content for you. And the more money that we get, the more people I can serve, the bigger impact we can make together, the more quality content I can release, and the more energy and time I can dedicate to serving and inspiring and uplifting. So if you do get value from this, maybe go check out that Patreon page. And like I said, you don't have to throw $100 a month or $50 a month. Like even just $5 a month makes a big difference. So huge thank you to all my patrons. You guys are the best. Like above the money thing, yeah, it does help me, but it more helps me on like a spiritual, energetic level than anything else. It's like, holy shit, these people appreciate what I'm doing enough to pull out their wallet and throw some money my way. And that energy of that just makes me feel loved and appreciated, lights my heart on fire, and inspires me to just keep giving and serving at higher and higher levels. So massive gratitude. I can't thank you guys enough. The other thing is, like, this podcast keeps growing, and it's calling in my soul tribe, which is the main purpose. Like, way bigger and way, more important to me than making money, although I love making boatloads of cash. The best part about it is it's calling in my soul tribe. It's bringing in my family, my people. Like, it's attracting similar like-minded people who are on a similar wavelength, and they just want to build with each other and uplift and inspire each other and help each other thrive. So I played a show the other day, and it was the first show I performed since I launched the podcast, which is crazy. It's the longest I've ever been without performing. Like, I used to perform 3, 4, 5 times a week, and then I've lately been kind of phasing out of just performing, and I still love performing. It's one of my favorite things to do, but it was kind of interesting to see that podcast listeners were the ones who came out to support me. I had about 9 or 10 of you guys show up to the event to come see me perform. Some of you guys for the first time ever seeing me rock live because you're listening to the podcast and getting inspiration from it and you wanted to come out and support. So that was way cool. It wasn't my best performance, if I'm being honest. It was actually one of the weakest performances I've done in a long time, but I'm not even beating myself up over that. Like, I didn't have a DJ, so I was just rocking off the laptop, and it's harder for me to get into the vibe with that. And I wasn't there for sound check, and which was my own bad, and so the sound wasn't really on point for my set. And yeah, I'm not even making excuses for myself. I'm just kind of, observing from my perspective of yep, I could have done way better performance, and I've done way better performances in the past, and most likely my next performance will be way doper. But regardless, I appreciate everyone who came out. And the reason that I left that show so inspired and just woke up on a cloud 9 the next day was not because, I got paid to rap and a lot of people came out and whatever. It was because inspiring, empowering, high vibrational conversations were going down with my podcast listeners. Out on the patio all night instead of just some drunk talk and some lower vibrational conversation that usually leaves me feeling introverted or feeling like I want to go home or it drains my energy. It was the exact opposite. It was high vibration podcast listeners talking about things they've learned from episodes, talking about, reframing. And we had this whole conversation about reframing challenges because, like I've said before, nothing in the universe is good or bad. It's just our thinking that makes it so. Everything in the universe is completely neutral, and so how we perceive it is what it is. And if we think something's happening to us and it sucks and it's like a burden, then it's gonna suck. But if we reframe it as a blessing, reframe it as an ability to, an opportunity to grow and a gift from the universe here to make us stronger, it's so much more empowering to look at things that way. I use the analogy of my mom dying. My mom dying is not good or bad. It can be both at the same time, and honestly, it kind of is both, but for the most part, it's just empowered and inspired me because I've choose to reframe it that way. I've choose to look at it in a way that lights me up. It's not like, oh, poor me, my mom died, my life sucks now. It's like, hey, the fact that I ever had a mom in the first place to be sad about is a huge blessing. That means I wasn't entitled to anything. The universe gave me an amazing mom for 24 years, and how big of a blessing is that? And now I'm stronger, I have more compassion, I have a deeper spiritual connection, I have more love in my heart, I have an opportunity to be a better dad myself. There's so many things that I've learned and gained from it because I made the choice to perceive it in a positive way. And we were talking about that at the show, and there was a group of podcast listeners talking about that, sharing their stories of how they've reframed challenges and hardships in their life, and saying, there's this one cat that damn near broke out into tears. I saw some tears coming to his eye. He was really quiet, and everyone was sharing their stories, and then out of nowhere he starts kind of choking up, tearing up a little bit, and shares a story about how his mom left him when he was 3, and how he's a stronger man because of it. And it was yo, this is dope. This is the type of conversations I want to be having. This is the type of conversation that lights me up and gets me inspired and gets me passionate, rather than some drunk talk that just feels boring and draining and I just want to go home, which is part of the reason that I started phasing out from even wanting to perform shows, because I'm especially at bars, different types of festivals and stuff can be higher vibe, but I'm not interested in just being around a bunch of people who are only, there to escape a life they don't like and just get fucked up. I knew starting this podcast would attract my soul tribe, and I just didn't know how fast it would attract this soul tribe. So I'm so grateful for that, and I'm just on a cloud 9 knowing that I can get on here, express my authentic self, just be my genuine Burnell self, and people will resonate with that and love it, and they'll want to be around me, and they'll want to come to events I host and see me perform and listen to my music, and it's just opening up the floodgates for my people to come into my life, and I'm so grateful for that. So with that said, thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. I'm genuinely grateful that we get this opportunity to connect, and I hope you'll keep listening and keep getting value from this and keep coming out to the events. So let's dive into today's episode. Today I want to talk all about reprogramming our subconscious minds and rewiring our brains and our nervous system and our entire being for success, for abundance, for happiness, for joy, for peak performance. This is going to be a powerful episode, so let's jump right in. Shout out to today's sponsor, Burnell Washburn, the boss, the god, the OG, the icon, the legend, young Bernie Gold. You already know what it is. Let's go. I'm really inspired to talk about this topic because I think it's one of the most important things that we can ever understand, because everything is controlled by our subconscious. The subconscious mind is running the game. And yet here we are on a conscious level, trying to get our lives together, trying to manifest the life of our dreams, trying to step into our higher self. But we're only using like 5% of our capabilities. We're working with the conscious mind, which often keeps us in these loops, in these patterns, in these repeating algorithms of the same behavior over and over again, because you can try to consciously do something, and if you haven't changed it on a subconscious level, you're just going to keep going back to your old ways. So reprogramming and rewiring our subconscious mind is one of the most important things that we can ever do to step into the life we deserve and step into a life that just lights us on fire. I'm going to talk about a couple ways to reprogram, some ways that I've been rewiring my entire being. I'm going to share some strategies, a couple tools and techniques and things that you can immediately go implement into your life starting today that is going to absolutely change your life. But it's not going to change your life just by listening to this podcast and trying this shit once. You have to be committed to the work, you have to be consistent, and you have to be willing to just put in that inner work for as long as it takes. I see a lot of people trying affirmations, and affirmations are the truth. They've absolutely shaped and shifted my entire reality, and whether you know it or not, whether you're consciously aware of it, all of us are always saying affirmations. Every single thought we think, every single word we speak is an affirmation. So even if you think, oh, affirmations are stupid, that's an affirmation. If you think affirmations don't work with me, that's an affirmation. If you think I'm strong and capable, that's an affirmation. If you think I'm broke, that's an affirmation. If you think I'm super smart with money, I'm good with money, that's an affirmation. Like every single thought and word it's all affirmations. So I see a lot of people trying this stuff, and then they maybe write down affirmations a couple times and nothing really changes in their life, and then they say, oh, this doesn't work. And it's because they have all this subconscious programming going on that they're not even aware of. So one of the biggest keys to get out of our own way is to become aware of our subconscious programming. I lived 20-something years without even realizing what my subconscious was doing. You know what I mean? Like, how many times since you've been listening to this episode, we're about 15 minutes in so far, how many times have you consciously told your heart to beat? 0. Because it's subconsciously, it's doing it for you. Your subconscious is controlling that. How many times since you've been listening to this episode have you consciously said, oh shit, I need to make sure my ears are picking up this sound and translating that vibration of sound wave into thoughts in my brain? Like, absolutely none. Your subconscious is handling that for you. How many breaths have you taken since we've been listening that have been subconsciously controlled? How many movements of your body and muscle firing and wiring that has happened? You get my point. There's so much going on. 90-something% of our behavior is controlled by our subconscious. And our subconscious programming mostly happens when we're a little kid. So by the time we're 7 years old, we have been a sponge up until that point. We have been just absorbing everything our parents say, everything we see in movies, everything we hear people talking about, everything we see out and about in the world has been deeply absorbed by our subconscious, and we've created and confined and defined these constructs of what the world is and how things work and who we are and what we're good at and what we're bad at, and we don't even realize that we have all these beliefs about ourselves and about the world. And I don't even believe that any beliefs are true or false. It's just like there's really no right or wrong or good or bad in the universe. It's just like whatever you believe is going to be your reality. Your personality is your personal reality. And so in order to have a better life, we need to have better belief systems. And in order to have better belief systems, we have to rewire them on a subconscious level. You can go write your affirmations and say your affirmations, every day, but if you're not feeling it on a deep emotional level, and then you're not backing it up with action, and you're not embodying that through your movements and through the way you're being, through your thoughts and your habits and your actions, that's not going to do you that much good. Or if it is, it's going to take you just years or decades to rewire. So I'm going to share a couple ways that I've been reprogramming my subconscious that's been helping me a lot. So the first one is hypnosis. I used to think that was weird. I thought it was some woo-woo stuff, or my ego just wants to be in control. I don't want anyone manipulating how I think and feel. I don't want to let go of control, and I don't want to be living in some type of illusion or delusion, which is funny because we're all living in an illusion and a delusion, It's just, are you living in an empowering illusion, or are you living in a victim mentality, in a disempowering illusion? The choice is ours, So if none of our beliefs are really right or wrong or true or false, we might as well pick some empowering beliefs that serve us, that make us happy, that help us take positive actions towards our goals and our dreams. And hypnosis is a powerful way to reprogram, because our subconscious mind is always listening. Think about it. When you're asleep, you can still hear. You can listen to these hypnosises while you're asleep, or affirmation recordings while you're asleep. And your subconscious mind will still absorb all of those beliefs, all that information, and it takes time, it takes consistency. It's like you don't just go to the gym, deadlift a couple times and pick up a kettlebell once or twice and be like, cool, I'm fucking shredded now and I'm super strong and I never have to work out again. Like no one would do that with exercise. So it's so funny when it comes to meditation and affirmations and some of these, psychological or spiritual practices. People try it a few times, and then they say it doesn't work for me. And it's just funny when you think about it in a fitness analogy. Then that sounds absolutely asinine, to go to the gym once and think you're going to get these results, or even go there like once every 3 months and think you're going to get results. Like, consistent effort is the key. So with reprogramming our subconscious mind, we got to be doing this every day. I spend hours a day programming my subconscious. I mean, we all spend 24/7 programming our subconscious mind, but I spend hours a day consciously saying, right now I'm rewiring my belief system to be more empowering, to think more abundantly, to not be a victim, to just step into my divinity, to own my power, own my kingdom, and step into my truth. Every single video you watch, every single post you read, every single sign you pass, every single decoration or piece of art in your house, every single word you speak or write or thought you think is programming your belief system. There's a thing called neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity, it's a tricky word to say. Neuroplasticity just means that your brain is moldable. It can change. Neurons that fire together wire together. That means when you think of a thought, it develops a new neural pathway. And then the more often you think that thought, there's a process called myelination, where we're not going to get too into depth to all the neuroscience stuff, but I'm just kind of briefly describing it. Myelination is basically these neural pathways getting stronger. There's an actual physical layer in the neurons that gets stronger between neurons, so it delivers these messages to these parts of the brain faster and faster. So the more you think positive, the easier it becomes to think positive. The more you say and think and feel the energy of abundance, the easier it becomes to think and feel abundant. The more often you feel depressed or say negative things and say, man, my life sucks, or I'm depressed right now, or I'm stressed right now, or I have anxiety, or any type of way that you label yourself, you're creating stronger neural pathways through the scientific process of myelination. Whoa, dropping stuff over here. Myelination is literally making it easier for those thoughts to happen, and it's because the brain is set to autopilot and it wants to make things easier for us. So the more often I think a certain thought and feel a certain emotion, the stronger that neural pathway is going to get, because the brain says, oh, he wants to feel and think like this. Cool, I'm going to make that even easier for him. So it's why you can get into a negative spiral and just things keep happening, and getting worse and worse, and you have thought that backs it up, and then you feel the feeling and it feels stronger, so then you go take an action that backs it up, and then you embody that by how you're using your physiology, and that just makes it even stronger. And it's like next thing you know, you're reprogramming your brain to be depressed or believe that you have anxiety. But you can do this in a positive or a negative way, and it's all about just taking charge of this and understanding that this is what's going on in my brain, so this is how I can program to be happier and healthier and stronger and more abundant and more prosperous and more creative and more inspired. So the first step for changing anything is awareness. You can't really change something that you're not aware of or that you're not conscious of. So first we have to sort of become conscious of our limiting beliefs and our thought patterns and our mindsets, and just become the observer of your own belief systems and your own thoughts and your own emotions. Like that's basically what the point of meditation is. So when you start meditating, you just start to become so much more aware of how you're thinking and how you're feeling. You're able to observe it and not react to it. You can just observe it and then make a different choice. Oh, hey, I have a tendency to constantly worry, and I'm worrying right now. That's interesting. I'm going to switch that right now, and I'm going to think something positive and empowering, and maybe throw on some affirmations or some dope music or whatever that's going to help me change this vibration, because now I'm aware of it and I can change it. Most of us are walking around with all this subconscious negative programming and negative beliefs about who we are without even realizing it, and so we can't even change it if we're not aware of it. And like I've said before, one of the strongest drivers of human behavior is the need to stay consistent with how we define ourselves. We will not consistently behave in ways that are inconsistent with how we view ourselves. So, if I view myself as a super healthy, fit person, I'm not going to be able to eat a bunch of garbage and skip workouts for very long without feeling this dissonance, without feeling like something's off and I need to make an adjustment. So we need to define ourselves in ways that are empowering. I do not personally identify with any negative labels such as anxiety. You'll never hear me say anymore that I have anxiety. You'll never hear me ever say again that I have depression or that I am depressed. These are negative affirmations. Or I don't even say that I am stressed out right now, because the very act of saying that is creating myelination. It's building that neural pathway stronger and stronger, because the brain doesn't know it's good or bad. It's just like, oh, he wants to feel stressed? Cool, I'm going to make this pathway to access stress frequencies stronger so he can access the stress even faster. Because the brain, it doesn't know that stress is bad. It just thinks that's what you want, so that's what it's like a computer. It does whatever you program it to do. So I'm very careful with labels and how I identify myself and what types of feelings and mindsets that I will allow myself to resonate with and connect with and own. I hear so many people say, yeah, I'm bad with money, or yeah, I have a lot of anxiety, or yeah, I'll get really stressed out, and it's like, stop labeling yourself like that, homie. Stop describing yourself in ways that are different than who you want to be. Forget who you've been in the past. Who do you want to be right now? Who do you want to be in the future? Define yourself that way. I used to identify with depression and anxiety, and so I was constantly talking about how I'm dealing with depression, I'm dealing with anxiety, and that was just trapping me in this loop that I didn't want to be in. So I just stopped describing myself as that way, and I started describing myself as I'm on cloud 9. I'm thriving right now. I'm healthy, I'm happy, I'm strong, I feel amazing. I write these affirmations every day. I say these affirmations every day. I take massive action on reprogramming my belief systems to support me rather than to create my downfall. I was thinking about it in terms of hiking through a jungle to get to a waterfall. Say you're in a super thick jungle and you go off the trail, off the beaten path, and you have to bushwhack your way through just the most gnarly thicket. You can barely get through it. It's hard. You go 3 hours and you finally get to this waterfall. It was tough, it was difficult, but it was worth it. You got to this waterfall, and the waterfall is just so gorgeous and so amazing. The next day, you're in the same jungle. You know this waterfall exists now because you've seen it, you felt it, you touched it. But you know this waterfall is really a bitch to get to. It's not going to be fun, it's not going to be easy. So you go back on the trail, and the trail leads you to the same boring place that you've always been. It's not the waterfall. It's not as dope as the waterfall, and it doesn't feel that good now that you know this waterfall exists, because you're like, damn it, I should have probably gone to that waterfall. But I was being lazy, or it was hard to get to, so I just didn't want to deal with all that hard work. The next day, you decide, fuck it, I'm going to the waterfall today. I don't even care how hard it is. So you bushwhack your way through this, and you get there again. It takes 2.5 hours this time, because you already chopped down some of the stuff that was in your way. You get there, you're like, man, this waterfall is so amazing. I'm so glad I came here. The next day, you're like, should I go to that waterfall? I don't know. I'm kind of tired from trying to get there yesterday. It was a lot of work. It takes a while. I'm just going to stay on this road and this little trail. You kind of go home feeling unfulfilled, kind of like, damn it, I probably should have gone to that waterfall again. And this waterfall, obviously, if you don't get it, is like a metaphor for your happiness and your joy and your higher self. And the jungle that you're going through is the neural pathways. So the fourth day, you say, you know what, I'm going to the waterfall today, but this day I'm bringing a machete this time, because I'm not going to chop my way through that jungle and that thicket with my bare hands again and get all cut up and scraped and bruised and blood, sweat, and tears. Like, I'm bringing a machete and I'm getting to that waterfall. Boom. So you bring a machete. Machete's like your affirmations, your hypnosis, some of the tools that I'm going to be talking about. You chop your way through this thicket and this jungle. You get to that waterfall in an hour and a half this time. So now you're getting there half the time it used to take you. And over time, there starts to be a trail to this waterfall now. It gets easier and easier to get to this beautiful waterfall. And after a few months of using your machete and beating down the trail, and I don't recommend beating down trails, respect Mother Nature, but we're talking metaphors here. After a few months of using your machete to get to this waterfall, now you have a path. You have a stronger neural pathway. Myelination has occurred. You have these neurons that are firing together are now wiring together faster and easier than ever before. And it's not really taking you that much effort to get to this waterfall anymore. Years down the road, you've been going to this waterfall like every day. You can run there in 5 minutes now. It's a quick jog through a beautiful path that you've carved out for yourself that's fun and easy and awesome. This is exactly how the mind works. I think this is a beautiful analogy that I just thought of this morning. And I've never really heard anyone use this analogy before. I get all these insights and metaphors and everything through hiking and being in nature. I swear you can learn everything that you need to learn just by observing nature. It can teach you so much. So that's why I love spending time in nature. I mean, it's obviously so good for your physical health, but for mental and spiritual health too, it's so important. So get yourself out in nature ASAP. Make it a priority. But this is obviously a metaphor for, like, your machete might be your affirmations that you're writing down, that you're speaking. It might be the hypnosis that you're listening to. And over time, you're just going to build these new neural pathways that's easier and faster to get to the positive thoughts. People often ask me, how do you think so positive? How do I overcome all these negative thoughts? And this is how you do it. You choose the positive thoughts. You choose to go to the waterfall even though it's hard. You bust ass to get there, but it feels so good. And then the next day you go back and it's a little bit easier. And you equip yourself with tools like a machete to get yourself there even better. And then you build this pathway. Over time, it's a breeze to get to this waterfall. It's a breeze to get to these abundant, positive, prosperous, happy thoughts. So it's not going to happen overnight. It requires consistent application of effort. You first of all have to have a big enough reason why. Why are you reprogramming your subconscious mind? You have to finally get fed up with your life. You have to finally get sick of tolerating less than what you truly deserve, because you're a divine being capable of anything, so much more powerful than you could ever realize. And you can literally tap into the life of your dreams right here, right now, heaven on earth. It's just, you got to be committed to it. It's not going to happen overnight. It takes that consistent effort. And it takes a big enough reason why of, like, you know what? I deserve to be happy. I deserve to be healthy. I deserve to be living my best life. And I'm going to do it, whatever it takes. I know that there's a beautiful sunshine and flowers and awesomeness on the other side of these storms. And damn it, I'm going to get there, whatever it takes. So you have to have a big reason why. And just commit yourself to the inner work every day for as long as it takes. You don't just write affirmations sometimes when you're feeling good. You write the affirmations every single day. You don't just listen to the hypnosis every once in a while when you're feeling like a high vibe. No. Commit yourself to bumping that every night. The most powerful times to reprogram our subconscious mind are right when we wake up and right before we go to bed. So, a couple things you can start doing tonight is listen to a hypnosis, a guided meditation, sound healing, affirmations, etc. as you're falling asleep every night. I want you to commit yourself to the last hour of your day is your subconscious power hour. Commit yourself to the last hour being this high vibrational state where you go to bed programming your subconscious to think prosperous, abundant, capable, awesome thoughts and feel these incredible emotions. So you fall asleep every night blissed out. And as you fall asleep, these hypnosis or these affirmations are still playing. And like I said earlier, your subconscious can still hear when you're sleeping. Otherwise, like how would you know to wake up if a bomb was going off or if your house was on fire? Like it's beautiful that our subconscious can listen while we're sleeping. So you can absorb all this wisdom and new ways of thinking while you're asleep. And it's way faster than doing it on a conscious level because your conscious mind is resting and sleeping, so it's not giving you all this bullshit resistance. And like in the waking life, you might say like, money is fun and easy to make. I get paid tons of money for being myself and doing what I love. And your conscious mind might be like, bullshit, bro, money's not easy, money doesn't grow on trees, it's hard, because you have all this programming and stuff that you absorbed since you were a little kid. That's these strong neural pathways, these pathways to the scum pond rather than pathways to the waterfall. And it's just easier for you to program yourself when you're asleep because you don't have your conscious mind getting in the way, telling you that this is bullshit. And you'll wake up over a few weeks of listening to stuff like this, you'll start to have these new neural pathways and you'll start to really believe this stuff. And when you really believe this stuff, you're going to obviously take new actions. And when you take new actions, you're going to get new results. And those new results are going to strengthen these belief systems. So the belief systems will get even stronger, which will encourage you to take even stronger actions, which will give you even stronger results. And it's this beautiful loop. It's like an echo chamber of your own awesomeness. And you can easily be in an echo chamber of your own self-pity and your own bullshit. Because whatever we believe is what we're going to act on, and whatever we act on is what is going to happen in our life, which is going to strengthen our beliefs, and you get it. It's a loop. So I recommend tonight going to bed listening to some positive affirmations or a subconscious reprogramming, and there's thousands upon thousands of these on YouTube for free. I recommend having YouTube Premium so you can save them to your device and listen to them when you're not on Wi-Fi, because I always have my phone either off or on airplane mode when I'm sleeping, because I'm not trying to get those electromagnetic frequencies and Wi-Fi signals all up in my shit. So have YouTube Premium for 3 reasons. Number 1, you can save it to your device and listen when you're not on Wi-Fi or listen on airplanes or wherever. Listen out in nature when there's no service. Number 2, you don't want any annoying advertisements interrupting you in the middle of your sleep. You're listening to this beautiful hypnosis, and then it's all of a sudden like, $3.99, get these new mattress, blah, blah. It's like, whoa, homie, I'm not trying to hear that, son. You don't want the ads. And number 3, you want to be able to suppress the lock screen on your phone or your device without it pausing your video. And you might not even want to be able to switch between different apps or text someone or something while you have these things playing without it stopping your hypnosis or your affirmations recording. And I have about 5 different affirmations that I've personally recorded. If you like my personality and my voice, I've paired them with sound healing, sound baths with solfeggio frequencies, binaural beats, and isochronic tones, because sound healing is the truth. So if you like mine, I'll put a link to my playlist in the description below. You can check them out, but there's also just thousands of other ones from amazing people on YouTube. And if you don't want to go the YouTube route, you can buy them. There's also some on Spotify, and you can also go to pretty much any public library and check out hypnosis CDs and affirmation CDs and sound healing CDs for free. You can take them home, put them on your computer, put them on your device, bump them in your car. Whatever. The library has beautiful free resources, and I think since the internet came out, a lot of us are forgetting about these treasure troves of public libraries that we most all have access to. So, you know what they say, having fun isn't hard when you got a library card. Shout out to Arthur. You already know what it is. Get yourself a library card. Check out some CDs or do the YouTube thing. But I want you to listen to these every night. Commit yourself. I like to start small. If you listen to, I have an episode of the podcast called Starting Small to Win Big. And if I tell you, okay, you got to listen to this every day for the next 90 days, at least minimum, because that's how long it takes to build a new neural pathway and build a new habit, which, by the way, is bullshit. They have all these different studies showing that different habits are going to take different amounts of time to form. So certain affirmations or things that you're listening to on the hypnosis recordings might take shape within a week or two. Other things might take 2 years for you to reprogram. So I want you to start small. Commit yourself for the next 3 days. It's pretty simple. For the next 3 days, I will listen to either affirmations or hypnosis every night for the next 3 days while I'm going to bed. It's that simple. Give yourself a small goal, reward yourself for hitting it, and then I guarantee you're going to want to keep going further. So I've been doing this stuff for quite a while, and it's been really reshaping my whole entire mindset and my whole entire being. Actually, just this morning, I put on this old affirmations recording that I used to listen to when I was falling asleep like a year ago. And I remember when I used to listen to it, there was so many things that she was saying that were almost like a fantasy land to me. Like, she would say things like, money is fun and easy to generate, and I get paid tons of money to be my authentic self. And when I first heard that, it kind of felt like bullshit to me, or it felt like a dreamland, or like, yeah, that would be cool someday type thing. But I was listening to it today, and it was just like, yeah, of course it is. Like, I didn't have any resistance believing her. I was like, yeah, that's my mindset. I forgot that I even learned that from her. Because I used to just listen to it in my sleep all the time, and now I'm like, that's my full-on mindset, and I fully believe that in my heart and soul, and like, it's hard to remember a time when I ever believed anything different than that. Or like, my health improves every single day. And it's like, back when I first started listening to that, I wasn't really healthy, and I was worried about my health and stressing on trying to build better health habits. And now I'm like, holy shit, I can't believe I heard this on a hypnosis recording. Like, I forgot that I even heard this from someone else. I thought that was just my normal belief that my health improves every day, because that's totally my belief now. So you'll notice over time, these beliefs just become your way of being, and you can't even remember thinking any different than that. So for the next 3 days, listen to some affirmations or some hypnosis and watch it change your life. I'll put some links in the description, and you can also just DM me and say, hey brother, what's some of your favorite hypnosis or your favorite affirmations? I would love to start listening to these. And the other thing that I've done that's really helped me reprogram my subconscious is every single morning, the second I get out of bed, the second I realize that I'm awake, I use Mel Robbins' 5-second rule, which is an amazing book. If you haven't read the 5-second rule, you can even just go watch like a synopsis of it on YouTube or Blinkist, and you'll understand the idea. But basically, it's like a countdown that launches yourself into taking immediate action. So I just realize I'm awake. I go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And as soon as I get to 1, I have to launch myself out of bed like NASA, like a rocket ship. Let's go. I jump out of bed, and just that act alone rewires me to be an action taker rather than most people have programmed themselves to the first thing they do in the day is procrastinate. They hit their snooze button. I don't have an alarm. I just do a lot of things to keep my circadian rhythm on point, which is, the hours that I eat and the types of foods I eat, and I sun gaze. I look at natural sunlight first thing in the morning, and I sun gaze just staring at the sunset every night as it's going down. And there's a lot of different things that I do to keep my circadian rhythm on point so I don't have to rely on an alarm. And I've also cultivated a lifestyle. I've designed a life where I don't have to be up at a specific time. So My body naturally always wakes up within about 10 to 15 minutes of each other because my circadian rhythm's on point and I don't need an alarm. But it's sad that the majority of people are programming themselves to wake up, and the first thing they do is program themselves to procrastinate because they maybe didn't go to bed at a good time. Maybe they fell asleep watching some garbage TV. Or maybe they had an alarm going off. They didn't, so the first thing, they're just reacting to the world of, oh shit, I gotta be up and I'm too tired, and it's a bad way to program yourself. So I launch myself out of bed like a rocket. That gets me stoked, makes me feel like a go-getter who just takes action and who's just, it really has programmed me to believe that like I'm stoked on life. I'm so grateful for this opportunity to exist on this physical plane that I couldn't even imagine myself laying in bed. Why the hell would I want to lay in bed for an extra 5 minutes? Like, no, I'm ready to live the dream. Let's go. I'm excited for the life I'm about to live. Let's get it. So I jump out of bed and I immediately start saying positive affirmations while I'm making my bed. Making your bed is one of the simplest success habits that everyone can implement that programs you to be a high achiever. It programs you to believe that, hey, I got my shit together. I'm operating as my higher self. Before I've looked at my phone, before I've even left my room, before I've done anything, before I've even gotten dressed, I've already made my bed look really nice. And while I'm making it, I say positive affirmations out loud, so they're more like incantations. Incantations is a positive affirmation while you're moving your body. So you're coding it into your cells. And you're having a lot of strong emotion behind it. So it's one thing to write down on a piece of paper, I am abundant, but you're not really feeling it. You're doing affirmations on an intellectual level. But there's no power in that, really. Or if there is, it takes decades. So the real power is embodying it on an emotional level. Incantations help you embody these affirmations on an emotional level. As I'm making my bed, I'm jumping around, I got a huge smile on my face because smiling, if you force yourself to smile, actually releases dopamine and serotonin and stuff into your brain and into your microbiome. So you develop the happy chemicals you basically trick your body into thinking that you're super happy just by forcing yourself to smile. And I'm smiling huge right now. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but fuck yeah, I'm stoked to be alive. Let's go. And I just tell myself things like, yes, today's going to be the best day ever. Thank you, God. I'm so happy I woke up today. I feel inspired. I feel strong. I feel uplifted. Let's get it. Today's going to be the best day of my life. I say that every single day. Today is going to be the best day of my life. Because the moment's all we got. Today's the only day I have today, so I might as well make it the best day I've ever had. And just being open to the possibility of today being the best day of my life, like, wow. That's beautiful energy. So I make my bed. I say these incantations and affirmations, and you guys have heard a lot of this stuff on my morning routines episode, so I don't want to go fully in depth on my whole morning routine, but the first hour or two of my day, sometimes the first 3-4 hours even, is dedicated to programming my subconscious mind in an empowering way and developing these new neural pathways. And it floods into every area of my life. When you wake up and you start feeling like that and saying things like that to yourself, you just can't help but, like I said, it's impossible to take consistent action in ways that are inconsistent with how we perceive ourselves. So I start perceiving myself as a badass, boss, beast, dope motherfucker who takes action, who inspires and uplifts and empowers people every day. I perceive myself as a super healthy person with an amazing diet, with impeccable health habits. And so it's pretty hard for me to behave in ways that would contradict that, because it doesn't feel good to be a hypocrite. Of course, we're all hypocrites in certain ways, but it doesn't feel good. No one likes to be a hypocrite, so if I catch myself doing any behavior that contradicts my affirmations and incantations, it feels weird, and I'm able to observe it, notice that's not who I want to be, and I can choose a new path. I can shift it right there and then. So that's one of the biggest things is like, you don't just like write these affirmations or listen to these hypnosis and shit just magically comes into your life. It's like, no. You start to perceive yourself different, and then you catch yourself anytime you're falling off path of who you want to be, and you get to make that conscious shift. So a lot of this programming starts in the conscious mind and floods into the subconscious. Like, you might consciously write down affirmations on a piece of paper, which is very important to write down physically, because that bridges. It's similar to incantations. You're doing a physical action as you're feeling this emotion and thinking this thought, and it's embodying it and encoding it on like a cellular level. Your subconscious mind is going to like remember it and absorb it that much more. That's why you can get a lot of power from like, try writing your affirmations with your non-dominant hand. It'll force you to like wake your brain up more and just think about it differently, and it'll come across so much stronger when you like write down the word, I am abundant, I am a money magnet, while you're really feeling what it's like to be a money magnet and feeling what it's like to be abundant and have plenty of resources to create your dreams and share and give and help others. Write that with your left hand and see how much harder it is and how much more your brain kind of has to think about it, because it throws you can write it with your right hand and not even feel it, not even think it. You're just writing some bullshit, So try writing your affirmations with your non-dominant hand. Try doing a lot of things with your non-dominant hand. It can help you access a flow state too. Another thing that I like to do to reprogram my subconscious mind is I create triggers. We all have triggers, whether you've consciously created any or not. Certain triggers are just usually a physical object. Doesn't always have to be a physical object, but for me, it's usually something in my physical environment that triggers a state of emotions. It triggers different thought process. It triggers just a whole different way of being. So a couple of mine are birds. I have three different triggers with birds. The first trigger with birds is anytime I see 3 birds together, not 4 birds, not 2, but if I see 3 birds together, especially if they're little, especially if they're by my doorstep, singing sweet song, a melody pure and true. I get so stoked. I realize I created that as a trigger to remind myself not to worry. Because like the 3 Little Birds song by Bob Marley, it's like, don't worry about a thing. Every little thing is going to be all right. So anytime I'm out on a walk or out in nature or whatever I'm doing, if I see 3 birds, if I look out the window when I wake up and the first thing I see is 3 birds, I jump for joy. I just get so excited. I just saw 3 birds. That means I don't have to worry about anything. The universe has my back. That means I can relax right now, and whatever I'm stressed or worried about in the back of my mind, I can just let go of that. It's a beautiful trigger. Another trigger is anytime I see 2 birds playing together or just, looking like they're little lovebirds, I have that as a trigger, like, hey, love is going to come into your life in divine timing, and you don't need to worry about that, and you're going to find like the romance and the twin flame, beautiful partnership that you've always desired and deserved at the perfect timing, and I don't even need to look for it or stress for it or worry about it. Like, the fact that I just saw 2 birds means that I'm on the right frequency, and it's going to come when it's supposed to come. Like, there's different triggers. Anytime I see a penny on the ground, I pick it up, and that's a trigger that I am abundant. I celebrate a penny. I saw someone throw a penny on the ground the other day while I was waiting for the bus, and I was like, wow, that's disrespectful. This person is obviously like on a scarcity mentality. He doesn't think a penny is a blessing when the majority of the world lives on like $1 a day. Like, I walked out in the street and I picked up that penny and I celebrated, and I felt so abundant and so inspired. got on this beautiful frequency, and I told myself, like, I used it as a trigger to be like, yes, the universe is just conspiring to bring me abundance and prosperity. Money is literally like raining out of the sky and coming to me from all angles, and I'm so blessed, and I'm financially blessed. Yes, I love my life. Thank you, thank you. I use it as a trigger to feel abundant and feel gratitude, specifically around the area of finance. And anytime I see any amount of money, that's a trigger. And then, sure enough, I get on the bus and I sell 3 beats and just make a few $100 in my PayPal. Boom. Because I got on this abundant frequency just from finding a penny. So that's just one of my triggers. I have lots of triggers that we don't have time to get into, but you got to create these triggers to help program yourself, because whether you want to or not, things in your environment are going to be programming you. So you might as well find some empowering things to program you. Like, anytime I see the color green, I go like, I'm going to pull that into my heart chakra and expand the energy of my heart. There's so many different things that you can do to program your subconscious and rewire your brain for success, because, like I said, it's all happening it's a subconscious game. And it's happening on these levels that we're not even aware of, so we need to first become aware of them so we can make this shift. I have a doorway trigger too. Anytime I walk through a doorway, I just remind myself, stand up straighter, breathe deeper, pull your shoulders back and put your chin up, and embody the highest, best version of yourself right now. Let's go. Bring the joy, bring the love, bring the gratitude, And over time, the more doorways I walk through, the more I embody that type of a personality as a higher self, badass who has good posture and breathes deep. Another big part of this subconscious reprogramming game, besides writing the affirmations and listening to the hypnosis and doing the incantations and making sure the first couple hours and the last couple hours of your day are just very on point, because that's the most important time to program. That's when we're closest to like source energy, and we're closest to the subconscious, and we're in the proper brain waves to really reprogram ourselves. I'm going to do a whole episode on the brain waves when my brain is working. We won't go into too much detail since we're about to wrap it up, but there's infralow, delta, theta, alpha, beta, and gamma. And when we're just waking up or when we're just falling asleep is this time when we're kind of often in like a theta state, where it's easier to program our subconscious. And a deep theta state can also be accessed through binaural beats and isochronic tones and deep meditation and breath work. So besides just before bed and right when we wake up, another powerful time to reprogram our subconscious mind is like right when we get out of meditation, or right after we've done some breath work. And also even when we get into like when we're exercising. Like, I've noticed when I listen to affirmations while I'm working out, those affirmations like get encoded within my cells like way faster than when I'm just writing them. Because we can, like I said earlier, we can write a whole page of affirmations without emotionally even feeling it. I can write entire pages of gratitude journals without actually feeling grateful. Or I can just write 3 words and feel like I'm on cloud 9, so grateful because I'm really feeling it on an emotional level. So the emotions are the secret to manifesting everything we want. The E in emotion is energy in motion. So our energy creates our reality. Our thoughts, our feelings, our way of being is what creates everything in our world, in our external environment. And our current reality, our current situation is completely moldable. It's just nothing but a manifestation of our previous thoughts, beliefs, actions, and emotions. Whatever predominant emotions we were holding, whatever vibration we were kind of set to. Ooh, my alarm's going off. It's 11:11 right now. Blessings. What does my 11:11 trigger say? My 11:11 says, check in with your frequency. Feel grateful. Are you doing your best right now? Let's go. I love having these little alarm triggers going off throughout the day. And this also just reminded me that it's only 11:11 in the morning and I've already crushed the day and gotten a bunch of shit done. So stoked on life right now. It's going to be a beautiful rest of the day. But anyway, our current circumstance is literally just a reflection of the previous vibrations that we were holding on to and the previous emotions that we were carrying. So we want a new life. Let's just start carrying more emotions and embodying the emotions of the lifestyle that we would like to live. Everyone's waiting for, not everyone, but a lot of people are waiting for external circumstances to change so they can feel a certain way. But that's completely backwards and completely broken, because if you're waiting for money to make you feel abundant, you're never going to feel abundant. You're never going to get that money. If you choose to embody and feel the emotion of abundance right now, you will vibrate on a frequency that is in harmony with abundance and prosperity. And by law of nature, more abundance and prosperity will come into your life. It's just how the universe works. I didn't make up these rules. This is just what it is. So the whole trick to creating the life that we want to live is to access the emotions that we want to access. Embody and feel them right now, and embody and feel them on a consistent basis. It's a constant progress of re-choosing the emotions that we want to feel. And you have to be committed to it. I don't care how many hundreds or thousands of times a day your vibration slips off and you have a negative thought or you have some bad feelings. It's going to happen no matter who you are. Just observe it and re-choose the emotion that you want. You get stressed and worried and anxious? Okay, observe that, honor it. Choose something different. Say, actually, you know what? I'm going to choose to feel empowered, inspired, protected, uplifted, strong, capable, whatever it is. And you just re-choose that emotion as many times a day as you need to until that emotion becomes your predominant way of being. After you consciously choose this emotion enough, neuroplasticity is going to build that stronger neural pathway through the process of myelination that is going to make it easier for you to feel that emotion on a regular basis. So you might be programmed towards worry, and you have to keep choosing faith instead of worry. And every time you choose faith instead of worry, you say, oh, I'm worried right now. I'm going to actually choose to feel grateful, feel faithful, feel I trust in the universe that everything's happening for a reason. I trust in divine timing. I trust in the universe that it's just going to work out exactly how it's supposed to. So I'm going to stop worrying right now. And I'm going to choose to feel faith. And it doesn't matter how many times that happens to you throughout the day, just keep re-choosing. That's the work. That's the inner work, is to keep choosing the desired emotion and embodying it in the now. And over time, you don't have to keep re-choosing it because it becomes your natural way of being. It becomes your vibrational set point, and it doesn't take that much conscious effort anymore because you turn it into a subconscious program that runs on autopilot for you. How many things in your life, like maybe going to the bathroom or maybe even checking your phone, like that you do so many times a day that it doesn't even require any conscious effort. It just subconsciously happens. It's a program that just makes it easier for you. It's kind of like, you've built that path to the waterfall. Now you can run to that waterfall in 5 minutes rather than when you first went there the first time. It took 3 hours of blood, sweat, and tears, chopping your way, getting all cut up through this thick, gnarly jungle. And then as you equipped yourself with the tools and you got that machete, boom, this waterfall's easy to get to now. And now you're pretty much, living at that waterfall, so to speak. So it's so powerful. We could go into depth on this for hours. There's so many tools and techniques that we're going to talk about on future episodes that are going to help us reprogram. This whole podcast is reprogramming our subconscious. Me talking about these things and sharing them with you guys is programming my own subconscious to believe and think these ways even more than I normally do. I'm taking ideas and thoughts that I have and I'm expressing them through word. I'm actually recording that, and then I'm projecting that out into the world. They are processing it through their own lens, You are processing it through your own lens, and then you are reflecting that back to me, and that is creating stronger neural pathways to where I believe that I am this type of way. Whenever I come on this podcast and I tell you, I'm a healthy, happy person, the more people I tell that, the more they reflect back to me that I'm a healthy, happy person, the more I believe I'm a healthy, happy person. So the more I'll take actions that resonate with that, the more healthy food I'll eat and workouts I'll do, and the better I'll take care of myself, because I believe that that's who I am, so I'll take action on it, and you guys get the point. I don't need to keep repeating myself, but I really want to embed this information deep into your heart and soul on a conscious level. And speaking of heart, like all these emotions that we're talking about, they need to be felt from the heart. You could say I am abundant, or money is fun and easy to generate, and your brain might understand what that means. But to your heart, does your heart really even know what money is or care what money is? No. Your heart knows the energy and the emotion of freedom. So you have to tap into the energy and emotion of freedom if you want to be abundant. Your heart knows the energy of generosity and giving and being able to do fun things for people you love. So you have to tap into the heart level of emotion if you want to manifest anything. Anything that you're trying to obtain or achieve in your life can be accessed so much faster when you tap into it from a heart space rather than a head space. It's been shown now by science that the heart, the electromagnetic energy of our heart, is like 1,000 times more powerful than the brain, and that the brain sends like 10,000 times more signals to our brain than our brain sends to our heart. So you can just put your hand on your heart several times a day like I do, and just consciously put your awareness in your heart and expand the energy of your heart when you're doing these affirmations and incantations and journaling and scripting. So you're doing all these things from an emotional, heartfelt place, and that's going to get you results so much faster. Another huge part of this reprogramming and rewiring is eliminating anything that's programming us negatively. I do not watch advertisements. I don't watch TV. I have YouTube Premium, so I don't have to receive or listen to like that programming from the ads, because like you might even see a NyQuil commercial about someone who's sick, and you're not sick, you're in perfect health, but just the fact that you've seen this NyQuil commercial 18 times subconsciously programs you to get sick. So I don't allow that bullshit into my life. I don't tolerate it whatsoever. I don't watch negative movies or TV. If there's something that's violent or negative that I'm not feeling, I turn it off. If there's music that's talking about being broke and having a shitty life or being depressed, I turn that shit the fuck off, and I don't listen to it anymore ever again. Not because I'm, being a hater, and I'm, not because I'm trying to be like sheltering myself either from like the real world. It's more so like I just know how powerful my subconscious mind is, and I know that it's just absorbing everything around me. It's moldable, and it's just picking up every single thought I think, every single word I speak. If I'm in a conversation with someone who's got a victim mentality and they just talk negative about themselves or about their life, I excuse myself from the conversation, or I stop associating with them, I stop hanging out with them. It doesn't mean I don't love them. I still love them and wish them the best. It's just like, my life is too valuable for me to just let you program me like that. And if I'm with people that I do love, that are on a high frequency normally, and they are just kind of on a bad wavelength, like, of course I'm going to let them vent to me, and I'm going to be there for them, and I'm not going to resist the negativity, because resisting these stuff is going to make it even worse. So I'm not trying to resist any of the negative stuff in the world. I'm just not trying to inundate with myself with it. That's why I don't watch the news. I've never seen a single speech from Donald Trump. I have no idea what he's about. Like, I don't care. It doesn't concern me. It's not something I'm interested in. Like, to be honest, I'm not into politics at all. I believe that we change the world through how we are and how we spend our money. So I'm choosing to spend my money and my energy and my focus. Like, my focus, my attention, and my dollar are the three ways that I'm going to change the world the most. So that's what I'm going to put those towards things that I think are positive, and I'm not going to put any energy or attention on things that I don't like or things that I think are wrong with the world unless I'm fully coming to it with a solution mindset. And like, I do put some energy towards the fact that a lot of people, there's 800 million people every year that go without clean water. But I'm not sitting here putting all my attention on that and how, look how many people are getting sick and look how bad it sucks that people don't have water and blah, blah, blah. Like, which is a lot of good-hearted people that run charities and positive organizations are just solely focused on the negative, and they're creating more of what they don't want. And yeah, you got to be aware of these problems in order to fix them. But I become aware of a problem, and then I immediately switch to only solution mindset. So I don't really post a lot of stuff about how it sucks that people don't have clean water. I might spread awareness about it here and there, but I just focus on spreading the energy of abundance and generosity and philanthropy and say, hey, guess what? You have the power to do something about clean water. We have the power to donate. Every time you buy beats from me or you come to my shows or you buy my merch, I'm donating more than at least 10% of my income. And, everyone that donates to me on Patreon and stuff, like, I'm donating a percentage of your income or my income and your contribution towards clean water. But I'm not sitting here spending all my energy talking about how fucked up it is that the powers that be and the media and the corporate companies and Dasani and Coca-Cola are screwing over the world with their plastic consumption. And I don't focus on that. I just focus on, hey, guess what? We have the ability to give back. We have the power to make a difference. Yes, look how badass this is that we have the opportunity to do something about this. So I'm aware of how anything even that could be perceived as positive could potentially program me in a negative way, in a disempowering way. So I'm consciously aware of that, and I just filter out anything that I think is going to, negatively program me, especially at night, especially in the morning. That's one of the biggest reasons I don't look at my phone or social media until usually like noon. So like, I'll wake up at like 7 and I'll go 4 to 5 hours before I've glanced at social media. Sometimes I get on there and post something real quick and hop off, and I'm just, because I'm inspired to spread vibes. But at least I'm trying not to open my laptop or my phone unless I know what I'm opening it for. And I have a high vibrational intention. Like, I don't just, it's natural habit to just like glance at my phone and look at Instagram. But that only happens when I'm not living with intention. I'm only scrolling through Instagram when I'm not coming from a place of empowered, inspired intention. I'm coming more from a place of boredom or just not being super conscious, and I'm not even aware of, so it's just autopilot. I'm pulling out my phone and just looking at stuff for no reason. But when I have the intention, okay, I'm feeling this certain emotion and I really want to go share this on my Instagram to uplift people, boom, okay, yeah, I can pull out my phone and share that message. That's living with intention. The more intentions we set in life, the better our life's going to become. So I know that there's a chance that if I wake up in the morning and scroll through Facebook, or so, I try to delete people that post negative shit, but even people that I love that I don't want to delete, they might be on a bad, on a negative vibe that day, which is totally chill. But I don't want to see that first thing in the morning. I don't want to read about how sick you are or how your car just broke down or how you just lost your job. And it's not like I don't have compassion for those things. I have massive compassion for, like, my entire reason for living and getting up in the morning is to help people with their problems and help people rise above their challenges. So I have this massive big heart and compassion for all of that, but I'm not inundating myself with other people's issues and stresses and problems, and I don't need to put the weight of the world on my shoulders all the time. Like, I already do that enough, so I can at least give myself the favor for the first few hours and the last couple hours of my day to not be looking at anything that might program me negatively. And like, I'm not gonna watch negative shows on Netflix or watch a violent movie and fall asleep to some type of negative programming or like documentary about how fucked up the world is, or some violent, bloody movie that's people killing each other and robbing each other. It's like, why would you watch that before bed, especially? Like, and again, This is in no way to say that you should shelter yourself and live in this little bubble of like sunshine and rainbows and fairies and chakra healers and shit like that. Just pretend like the world's all fine and dandy and, be like oblivious to the problems. But it's like, yo, let's be real with ourselves. We've all known that the world is fucked up. We've all known that there's bad shit in the world since we were little kids. So why are we inundating ourselves and watching it on the news and reading about it on social and talking about it so much? Like, we've already known that there's problems in the world and there's always going to be. So let's just focus on what we can do about it. Let's put all of our energy towards uplifting and inspiring and consuming content that's going to program us in a positive way rather than, focusing on the problem. Let's be solution oriented and you don't need to pay attention to every little thing that Trump says or does. Like, you're going to get whatever you're looking for in life. The universe is neutral. I used to think it's like, it's this equal balance of negative and positive, and you're going to see, if you're thinking positive and feeling positive, you're going to see the positive stuff. If you're looking for the negative stuff, you're going to see the negative stuff. And that is true, but everything really in the universe is neutral. So Trump being our president, that's not good or bad. There's a million ways I could frame that in a positive way. Like, you know what? I could choose to look at that situation as like he's creating more racism in the world, and the world's becoming more racist than ever because of Trump, and there's a lot of people that do believe that. Or you could choose to look at that situation as a positive if you want to. You could say, you know what? I love that Trump is, I don't know if he's racist or not. I assume he is because everyone talks about it. And he wants to build a wall or something. That's probably obviously racist. But people are like, you could just assume, or you could frame that in a positive way. Like, you know what? I'm glad that all this racism is being brought up so our culture can deal with it. And if we look at history, we're actually like the least racist we've ever been. Like 100 years ago, people were getting lynched and had separate drinking fountains and there's all sorts of crazy shit, separate bathrooms, and there has been, a lot of changes. Like, there's people that used to get killed because they loved someone who was a different color than them, like a different ethnicity. Like, that means your boy would have been beheaded, like, for having like a mixed race daughter. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn near every woman I've ever been in a relationship has been a different ethnicity, like Persian or Brazilian or Mexican or European or Russian. Like, I've dated so many different ethnicities, and I have the freedom to do that in this day and age, and no one came to my house and chopped my head off for it. Like, that's a positive. We're living in a blessed time. So I could choose to frame it like that and frame it like, you know what, this is badass that, like with plant medicine journeys, when the shadows get brought up, it's so you can heal them. It's not so you can be tortured by them. It's so that you can be aware of them and move past them. And I think I could reframe the whole entire Trump situation as like, I'm glad that racism is getting brought up and being pulled to the forefront of our culture so we can have these conversations and move past it. And once and for all, we can start to learn to love each other and respect each other and accept each other for the beautiful, divine, blessed beings that we are. And we can, add to the ascension process. That's why I don't really talk about racism or stuff. This is the first time I've ever even mentioned anything about it, because am I aware that it's a real thing that people deal with? Yes, of course. But am I more aware of the fact that I can aid the ascension process by helping wake people up to see that we're all one? Yes, I'm spending more of my energy trying to show people, look, we're all one. We're all beautiful, we're all divine, we're all capable and powerful, and we all have the ability to just live extraordinary lives, and we all really deep down want what's best for each other. So I'm spreading that energy, and I'm choosing to frame that whole situation in a positive way rather than inundating myself with the news and the negative programming. Like, why do you think they call TV programming? Because it's programming you, and so is your social media feed. So get out there and delete anyone that's programming you in a negative way. If your social media account if you scroll through Instagram and it doesn't just insanely inspire you and uplift you, then you are following the wrong people, my friend. When I get on there, it's nothing but abundance mindset, creativity, gratitude, compassion, love for nature, love for this beautiful planet, spirituality, high vibrational content, fitness, nutrition, things that are just going to inspire me to be a better version of myself. If I open my Instagram right now, I guarantee the first 5 accounts that I'm going to see are going to, in some way, uplift me and make me want to be a better version of myself today. And that's because I am just unapologetically unfollowing or unfriending or deleting or blocking anyone that doesn't make me feel good on my social media experience. These social platforms are designed to be highly, highly addictive, and they are. So I'm not going to get myself addicted to some negative bullshit. I know I'm playing with an addictive medicine that's neutral, that can be good or bad. So if I'm going to be addicted to this damn smartphone device, then I sure as hell better have some positive, inspiring content on there to be addicted to, rather than stuff that's going to negatively program my mindset to think like a victim or have scarcity mentality or think, separation. Like, the illusion of separation is the ego. We are all one. We are all love. We're just one consciousness. We're all just energy. So let's love each other. Let's respect each other. And let's take it on ourselves to curate our own experience in life in a way that programs us in a positive way. I love you guys. I really appreciate you listening to this episode. I feel like I just spilled a ton of value out of my heart. I kind of had no idea what I was going to talk about. My computer wasn't working for a couple days, and so this is why this episode's probably coming out a day late, because I wasn't able to record an episode when I wanted to, but it was perfect. Mercury's in retrograde, technology's going crazy, and I'm just have this super faith-trusting energy with the universe right now, where I'm just like, whatever is supposed to happen is supposed to happen, and it's meant to be. I didn't even get stressed or upset that I couldn't record an episode and that I was going to be uploading it on the wrong day. It just didn't even matter to me. I was just like, you know what? Everything's going to work out. And as soon as I get clarity on what I'm going to talk about, because I didn't even know, I knew I needed to record an episode for this week, but I didn't even know what the episode was going to be about. So I was like, you know what? As soon as I come up with the topic idea and I know what I'm going to talk about and I have something that I feel is really important to share with you guys, I bet my computer will start working again and I'll be able to record an episode. And guess what? That's exactly what happened. Yesterday, I went the whole day without a computer. It didn't work at all. Today, I just woke up on a good frequency, and right before bed last night, I wrote down the phrase subconscious reprogramming 101. Because I knew that was going to be the topic or a potential title idea for this episode. And as soon as I woke up, I turned on my computer, wondering if it was going to work or not, and boom, it worked. Worked perfectly, so I sat down right there and then and just decided to record an episode. And all I knew from the beginning is it was going to be about reprogramming. And then I feel like I just channeled some brilliant information that's going to hopefully make a positive impact on your life and hopefully get you closer to having a more empowering, more inspiring mindset that just makes you stronger and happier and healthier and helps you just genuinely thrive on all levels. So I really appreciate you guys listening. I'm so stoked that we have a podcast and we have this community. Shout out to the Gratitude Gang. Shout out to all my patrons. Zach Green, Brock Willie, Malev de Shinobi, Justin Moore, Sally Matson, and whoever else. I think there might be even more than that now. So I appreciate you guys. I appreciate the hell out of everyone who's supporting this podcast by sharing it. Please message me, shoot me a DM, let me know that you listened to this episode. Let me know a takeaway that you got from this. What's something that you learned from this episode, or a sentence or a phrase that just lit you up? When I listen to podcasts, I like to just write down little phrases and little gems of wisdom that I find, and just keep them in like a notes on my phone and be like, yeah, I remember that. And just the little act of writing it down helps me learn the information that much more, because they say you learn once by hearing something, and then you learn the second time by doing it, and then you fully learn it when you teach it. So take this information in, write it down, apply it to your own life, and then go share it and teach it with someone else. Because when you share it and teach it to someone else, that's when you fully grasp it. If you can't explain it to someone, then you don't fully get it yet. So there's a lot of things that I think that I understand, and then I go to try to explain it, and I'm like, man, I really don't understand this fully yet, and I have to learn this more. So please share this with someone that you love, someone that you think might benefit from this. Definitely check out my Patreon page if you haven't yet, and let's keep growing the community. If you haven't left a review, that would be so awesome. Reviews are huge for iTunes ratings and for getting us new listeners and making a bigger, more powerful impact. So, also, if you're listening on YouTube, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell on my YouTube channel. We are growing rapidly. I'm getting more subscribers per day than I used to get per month, so that's awesome. And you have to hit the notification bell. You can't, just hitting subscribe is not enough anymore. YouTube actually requires you to hit the little notification bell in order to be notified when new episodes drop, which is normally every Tuesday and every Friday. Sometimes, I think today's going to be dropping on a Wednesday, but, it's all good. It doesn't really matter. But I drop inspiring, empowering. I say those words so often that it starts to be a tongue twister. I drop dope content from my heart and soul every single week, multiple times a week, to help you live a happier, more fulfilled, amazing lifestyle that you're just stoked on from the inside out. So thank you for listening. If you've made it this far, you're a legend. I can't believe you just invested an hour and a half of your time. I can't believe I just invested an hour and a half of my time. That shows that I just really love this stuff. I love sharing this information, and I love being able to connect with this beautiful community, calling in this whole tribe. Peace and blessings. Sending you all the love, all the good vibes. I hope you go on to have an amazing rest of your day. I hope you have a brilliant time falling asleep tonight to some hypnosis or some affirmations, and I hope you really start taking action on rewiring and reprogramming your whole entire mindset, especially the subconscious. So it's a beautiful life ahead of us. I love you guys. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. We'll catch you on the next episode. Peace and blessings.